The Assassin's Creed series has reinvented itself more times than most franchises survive, from stealthy rooftop parkour to full-blown RPG epics. Not all Assassin's Creed games are created equal. Some are masterpieces, some are, let's just say, learning experiences. Today we're ranking every mainline Assassin's Creed from worst to best, and yes, some of your favorites are not going to land where you expect. So, gamers and adventurers, let's get into it. Number 10. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Look, nobody hates Mirage. That's actually kind of the problem. It came out at a time when fans were screaming for a return to the old formula: tight city, rooftop parkour, actual stealth, and Ubisoft delivered exactly that. Basim's story is interesting enough, especially if you played Valhalla and knew what was coming. Baghdad is gorgeous. The Assassin Bureau structure feels like a love letter to the original game, and for about 15 hours it genuinely scratches that itch. But here's the thing, 15 hours. That's it. For a full-priced release, Mirage felt more like a passion project than a mainline entry. The mechanics were deliberately stripped back, the world felt small compared to what came before, and just when you started getting invested in Basim and Nahal, it was over. It lands at 10 not because it's a bad game, but because it plays it so safe that it barely leaves a mark. You finish it, you enjoy it, and then you kind of forget it happened. Number 9. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Valhalla had everything going for it on paper. Vikings, England, a brutal axe-swinging protagonist in Ivor, and a world so massive it could swallow you whole. The settlement building was a genuinely fresh idea, the raids were satisfying, and the opening hours in Norway are some of the best the RPG era has to offer. The problem is what comes after those opening hours, and after those, and after those. Valhalla is a game that simply does not know when to stop. Every Alliance arc follows the same pattern: go to a new region, meet a lord, navigate their political drama, pledge their support, repeat. By hour 40 you've done it so many times that the world, despite being stunning, starts to feel like a chore. Eivor is a great character, but the Assassin-Templar conflict feels almost accidental here, like it was stapled on rather than woven in. Valhalla holds day-one revenue records for the franchise, and you can see why. The first impression is incredible. It's the second, third, and fourth impression where things start to crack. Number 8. Assassin's Creed Revelations. Here's the thing about Revelations. It was never really trying to be the best game in the series. It was trying to be a farewell. And on that front, it genuinely delivers. Watching Ezio piece together Altair's final chapters in Masyaf while navigating the streets of Constantinople is one of the more emotionally layered experiences the series has produced. The ending still hits, but outside of that emotional weight, Revelations is where the Ezio formula started showing its age. The hook blades were cool, the bomb crafting system added some tactical depth, but the tower defense mechanic nobody asked for kept getting in the way. The Den defense missions feel like something pulled from a completely different game. Istanbul, or Constantinople, depending on who you ask, is a beautiful setting, and the story of Suleiman the Magnificent gives it real historical texture. It earns its spot here simply because the series never quite reached those emotional heights again, but mechanically it was running on fumes. Number 7. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Odyssey is a fascinating entry because, depending on who you ask, it's either the peak of the RPG era or the moment the series lost the plot entirely. Ancient Greece is an incredible playground, enormous, detailed, and genuinely alive in a way few open worlds manage. Cassandra, and look, if you played as Alexios, that's on you, is one of the most charismatic protagonists the franchise has ever produced. The mercenary system keeps the world feeling reactive, the naval combat is back and improved, and tracking down the cult of Cosmos has this satisfying detective quality to it that the series rarely attempts. But Odyssey asks a lot from you. It is long, relentlessly so, and the dialogue choices and romance options push it so far into RPG territory that the assassin identity nearly disappears entirely. There's no hidden blade for the first chunk of the game. You're essentially playing a Greek mythological epic that happens to share a universe with Assassin's Creed. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it explains why Origin sits above it on this list, and why hardcore fans keep it at 7. Number 6. Assassin's Creed 3. Here's where the list starts getting genuinely controversial. A C3 gets dragged a lot, and some of that criticism is fair, but a lot of it isn't. Connor Kenway is one of the most misunderstood protagonists in the franchise. He's not boring, he's principled, and in a series full of charming rogues and charismatic anti-heroes, a man who genuinely believes in what he's fighting for is actually refreshing once you give him the chance. The American Revolution backdrop is rich with real historical figures: Washington, Lee, Franklin, and the frontier, that massive wilderness between the cities, was genuinely unlike anything the series had attempted before. Hunting, naval combat in its earliest form, tree running, AC3 was quietly building foundations that Black Flag and Rogue would go on to perfect. The problem was the pacing. The first 5 to 6 hours are essentially a prologue wearing the costume of a full game, and by the time Connor actually takes control, some players had already checked out. The homestead missions, though? Quietly, some of the best side content in the entire franchise. A C3 is rough around the edges, but it's a more ambitious game than people give it credit for, and that ambition earns it a spot at 6. Number 5. Assassin's Creed Origins. If Black Flag saved the series from pirate fatigue and Unity nearly sank it, Origins is what pulled it back from the edge entirely. Bayek of Siwa might be the most genuinely human protagonist the series has ever written. He's not driven by ideology or revenge in the cold, calculated way Ezio was. He's a father in grief, and that grief bleeds into every single thing he does across ancient Egypt. The world Ubisoft built here is staggering. From the dunes of the Sahara to the streets of Alexandria to the depths of the pyramids, every corner of this map feels like it was made with real care. The shift-to-action RPG mechanics worked here in a way it never quite managed again, because Origins still felt like an Assassin's Creed game at its core. The Hidden Ones, the Order of the Ancients, watching the Brotherhood literally be born in real time, it gave the whole franchise a new layer of meaning. The Eagle Vision becoming an actual eagle named Senu was a small thing that somehow made exploration feel completely different. Origin sits at 5 because it earns every bit of love the community gives it, and placing it here over Odyssey is the right call. Number 4. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Brotherhood had no business being as good as it was. Coming off AC2, the smartest thing Ubisoft could have done was play it safe, and instead they handed you Rome, a living, breathing city under Borgia control, and said go take it back piece by piece. Ezio in Brotherhood is operating at a different level. Older, sharper, less of a boy becoming a man, and more of a general commanding a war. The actual Brotherhood mechanic, calling in your trained assassins to execute targets mid-mission, never got old. Rome itself rewards exploration in ways the series rarely matched. Every district you liberate feels meaningful. Every tower you burn is a small victory. The addition of the multiplayer component was something nobody expected, and it worked. Hunting human players through crowds using the same social stealth tools you'd been using on AI enemies was genuinely tense and clever. Brotherhood is the rare follow-up that justifies its own existence completely. And at 4, it sits exactly where the community tends to put it. Respected, loved, but just short of the top tier. Before we get to the top 3, just so you know, in the next few videos, we are doing a full top 10 ranking of the Resident Evil franchise. Same format, same energy. If you're interested in seeing that video, then maybe consider hitting that subscribe button to not miss it. Anyways, back to the video now. Number 3. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. And here's where things get hot. Black Flag at 3. Not 2, not 1, 3. Look, nobody is saying Black Flag isn't an incredible game. Edward Kenway is magnetic. The Caribbean is one of the most purely joyful open worlds ever constructed, and the naval combat set a bar so high the series spent years trying to reach it again. Shanties alone could carry a lesser game. The freedom Black Flag gives you: hunting whales, raiding convoys, diving for treasure, boarding warships in the middle of a storm. It all feeds into this perfect pirate fantasy that never gets old. But here's the thing, and this is the conversation worth having. Black Flag succeeds almost despite being an Assassin's Creed game. Not because of it. Edward spends the majority of the story actively resisting the Creed. The assassin mechanics are almost secondary to the seafaring experience. It's a phenomenal game by any measure, but if you strip the AC branding off it, it would still be the exact same experience. That's not a flaw exactly, but it's worth saying out loud. 3 is exactly where it lands. Undeniable, iconic, but not the complete package the top 2 are. Number 2. Assassin's Creed Unity. Here it is. The hot take you were warned about at the start. Unity at number 2. And before you close the video, hear this out, because the case for Unity is stronger than the internet ever let it have a chance to be. When Unity launched, it was a disaster. And that's not revisionist history, that's just fact. The bugs were inexcusable. The frame rate was embarrassing, and it released at a time when the goodwill around the franchise was already wearing thin. The internet made its verdict, and it stuck. But here's what got buried under all of that. Unity is mechanically the most refined Assassin's Creed game ever made. Paris during the French Revolution is the single greatest city the series has ever built. The density, the detail, the sheer verticality of Notre Dame alone is something no other entry has come close to matching. The parkour system was completely overhauled, and when it works, nothing in the franchise feels better. The stealth mechanics were the deepest they had ever been. Crouching, cover systems, crowd blending done with actual intelligence, rather than just walking near a group of people. Arnaud Dorian is a protagonist who genuinely deserved better from the story he was given. And even that story, flawed as it is, carries real emotional weight through its central relationship. The co-op, 4-player co-op, in an Assassin's Creed game running through revolutionary Paris, was an idea so good it's almost criminal that the series never returned to it. Unity was bullied into a bad reputation it never deserved, and every year that passes, more of the community comes around to saying exactly that. Number 1. Assassin's Creed 2. Not the flashiest pick, not the most controversial, but the most correct, and in deep down most of you already knew it was coming. Assassin's Creed 2 is the game that made this franchise what it is. Before it, AC was a promising but repetitive first attempt. After it, AC was a cultural institution. Renaissance Italy, Florence, Venice, Tuscany, Forlì, is a world that still holds up visually and atmospherically over 15 years later. And then there's Ezio. Ezio Auditore da Firenze is not just the best protagonist in the franchise, he might be one of the greatest protagonists in action gaming, full stop. Watching him go from a carefree young man laughing on rooftops to a man shaped entirely by loss, purpose, and conviction is a character arc that the series has been chasing ever since and never quite caught. The leap in gameplay from the first game was enormous. Varied mission design, a massive world, a villain in Rodrigo Borgia with real weight and history behind him, and a modern-day storyline with Desmond that actually felt like it mattered. Every system that came before it was refined. Every system that came after it was built on its foundation. Assassin's Creed 2 didn't just save the franchise, it defined it. Number 1, and it isn't particularly close. And that's the list. Years of hidden blades, leaps of faith, and arguments in comment sections, distilled down to 10. If Unity at 2 broke something inside you, tell us below. And if you think Black Flag got robbed, that conversation is waiting for you down there too. Drop your personal top 3. Let us know where we got it wrong, and if you're new here and somehow survived this entire video, welcome. You clearly have good taste. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.
Gave the Vikings something to fight for.